Welcome back to the channel. It has been a while since I worked on something for the VR4, really worked on something. What my plan is today is this is the typical rear, really basic, ugly VR4 rear bumper. They have like this body line right here that kind of like just mimics the, how all the panels just kind of clip in. So the side skirts clip in, so it has like that gap. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that. So my plan for this bumper is, I'm also going to get rid of this, this weird, circle that they have going around the license plate. I really don't like how it looks. It just, I don't know, makes it look tacky almost to me. So the plan is I have a hot knife. I'm gonna pretty much cut the bumper along this edge right here, but it's a AMG C63S rear bumper for a coupe. And it has like these fake ducts right here that I'm going to, pretty much, I'm gonna cut it along its line right there. And I'll cut these out so they're functional. It has like this light right here. I'll have to get those. I also need to get the little piece of trim that goes and fills the tow hook hole. And then the only reason I wanted to get this rear bumper and integrate it was I saw I ordered the exhaust tips, but I saw an AMG and I liked the exhaust tips, and then I saw the rear bumper and it had a factory rear diffuser that clips in and it almost kind of like bubbles out. So it kind of like, does this weird bubble thing. And I thought that it would look so much better on the VR4 if I could integrate half of this AMG bumper into half the 3000 GT bumper, and then have like a diffuser and then have the exhaust actually like surrounded. It'll make the car look a lot newer. It'll also, make it a lot cleaner. I don't like these cannons, these rice cannons that are on the back of it. I just stuck them on because the stock exhaust was all rusty. And it had valves and stuff in it. This one is a little bit freer, but just isn't my style. It's just ugly and hangs down low, sticks out at a weird angle, and it really doesn't match the way I want the car to look. Also, you can see that the bumpers kind of have like almost the same kind of thing going on. They're almost the same width. The VR4 bumper kind of has like a thing right here, like someone thought about putting a diffuser in but didn't, and this AMG bumper kind of has the same thing. Both stands assembled and the bumpers on them. I was just thinking about using one stand. We'll see what happens. I do want to integrate the diffuser once I get it into the bottom. It latches onto the bottom of the fuel tank. That will make it a lot, stronger And also I may go past the fuel tank with a diffuser just so it has, you know, a path for the air to go. We'll see how crazy I want to get with the diffuser. I may, in the beginning, just get a stock diffuser and clip it on there. I think that'll be the easiest thing. They have plastic ones. They have all kinds of different models. So there's like just a normal black plastic one. There's also one that's outlined with chrome, and there's also a carbon fiber one, and then there is another one that's like carbon fiber and it's like red around the edges. So there is the piece of the AMG C63S bumper that I cut off, and where's the bumper at? I mean, this is the look I have been wanting on this car. The exhaust, not so much. Those are gonna go, those exhaust cannons, but I mean, look at that thing. It just flows so much nicer with the car. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to graft in the front part of the 3000 GT bumper, also the top that bolts on the quarter panel for the bumper, and then the upper part of the 3000 GT bumper I'll graft into the AMG bumper. So it will be, you know, it'll bolt up in all the stock spots. The bottom part, I'm going to pretty much graft that very bottom thing right there into the 3000 GT bumper, because I need the little parts where the diffuser clips in to the bottom of the bumper. So there's actually 4 spots. There's 2 on each side right there, and then there's some on the top right there. So I mean, I need to keep all those tabs and locations just so the stock diffuser will clip in like factory, and you know, I won't have any issues like that. This car isn't meant to be super slammed. So the bumper probably is just sitting on the exhaust right now, but I'm guessing it will probably drop down another 1.5 inches to maybe 2 inches. So it'll probably be the same height as the front bumper right there. I don't like to have my car super slammed. I like them drivable, and I don't like the, you know, I like a little bit of fender gap, because if you do drive stuff on the street, and especially like with paint job like this, I don't want to mess it up. So I'm gonna cut up the 3000 GT bumper now and start the whole grafting process. Jack the car up. I'm gonna pull the back section of the exhaust off just because it is interfering with me mocking up the bumper. I pretty much just Gorilla taped this thing together as a rough go. I'm not sure exactly what I'm gonna do. I may end up, I'm not exactly sure if I like this line right there. I may end up cutting that off and then mounting it directly to this, which I think will look a lot better. And the only issue I have with that is that line runs into this right here. And I don't know if I want to really mess that up. Just removed the rice cannons from the VR4. Now I shouldn't have any issues fitting this bumper and trying to get everything to line up and figure out where I'm gonna cut it again to then plastic weld it. So there is a pretty rough mock-up. I have it Gorilla taped, but it fits pretty well. You can see that where I cut it, it fits nice. So the front part, there's more AMG bumper, I think, than 3000 GT bumper. But you can see the front is a 3000 GT bumper right here. And then that's the AMG. I did that because I needed this part for the fender liner right here to bolt onto. But I needed the back part of the AMG bumper, so the diffuser bolt on. I will put a link in the description for this thing. This is, I bought it to cut the sheathing off wiring. But it also works to cut plastic. So it just pretty much is like a soldering iron, but it's like a hot knife, and it just heats up a little part on here that's thin. And then you could just, you know, cut pretty smooth and easy through there. Those blades don't last very long because they do get hot and then they start to warp. So I would recommend getting some blades. But the link will be in the description. Put the tail lights and the little garnish piece above the tail light just so I could see what it looks like. I do like how it is turning out. I might start plastic welding it right now. I'm not exactly sure. I'm kind of afraid. I need to kind of think what I'm gonna do with how it rounds out in the center, because the Mercedes is a little bit, you know, sticks out a little bit more. I may go with that. So pretty much what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue it, line it up with some tape, let it dry, and then I'm just gonna keep moving along and keeping the bumper even as I go around. And I'll do both sides at the same time until I get to the center. So what I did was sanded the paint down to the plastic with 80 grit, just so the glue has some good stuff to bite into. I got that corner glued in. Now I just have to wait for it to dry. Got this whole backside glued in. It does look kind of bad, but you need to put enough glue to get into the seam so it bonds both bumpers together. Then I can sand it down with 80 grit. But before I do that, I need to line this up and glue this whole edge in. You can see that it's a little off right here, but as I, you know, glue it, I'll, you know, pull it out right here, even with the bumper, then glue that whole section. And it's gonna kind of, you know, take a little bit of finessing to get it all glued, because you have to make sure while the glue's drying, the bumper doesn't like move in like that. So it needs to stay even the whole time. I'm gonna use that old piece of the AMG bumper that I cut off to fill in both of these holes. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trace the shape onto it, cut it out with the Dremel, then I'll go and 80 grit this and then glue it in, which shouldn't take too much time. Also right here, I need to cut out a piece to fit in this to fill that hole as well. And then I could glue that piece in, and then all the holes will be filled. There is the shape I need to cut out. There's one on each side of this piece. And I'm using this AMG bumper to its fullest. So I got the pieces that I needed cut. I will need to sand these with 80 grit, and I'll also sand the edges so everything fits together really nice. Right now it has a little lip from the hot knife, and once it fits in there, I'll glue it together. And also I did the same up here. This piece just needs to be ground down a little bit and you know, cleaned up, and then I could plastic weld everything together. And hopefully people don't think this is too ghetto, me plastic welding the two bumpers together, but I didn't foresee any other way I could do this other than doing it this way. Top piece is glued in. The bottom ones, it has a curve to it, so I'm gonna have to use a heat gun to mimic that curve. Just finished gluing this piece in. Now I have the shape on this one. I have a hammer underneath to hold the shape, and then the hammer on top is kind of to bend it down. And as the glue dries, it will be like this. It'll hold that shape of that little curve right there, make it look really nice and kind of flow with the bumper. The reinforcement nylon mesh is now glued down and spread out with the plastic adhesive. Looks like it should be good to go. I also backed these with the same stuff just so it is more rigid and it's not going to have any issues with the pieces popping out. There's plenty of mechanical adhesion there. So these bumpers are now finally 100% glued together. So I'm probably going to cut from right here over to right there, just so it has less tension on it. Bolt it down onto the car, and then glue that part back where it needs to be, and then I'll re-sand it. But I did sand pretty much all of the other stuff out. You can see that groove that was right there is now gone, and it looks a lot smoother now that it is gone. So I didn't really get the DA in that spot. I'll have to do that by hand. Yesterday, after much work, I got this thing pretty much shaped how I want it. The little brown spots are the bumper plastic filler, and those are the spots that were a little bit low still. So I put some of that on there, and it's dry now, so I should be able to hit this with the 36 grit and maybe, possibly prime this thing today. What I went ahead and did was these. I don't like that they're not a functional vent. I plan on making them work with something eventually. So on this side, I already cut it out, and it looks 100 times better than this fake vent over here. So I'm going to cut this one out, and all I really have left to do is block that right there, because that was a little messed up. This bumper was in an accident before and had some issues right there. So I'm going to block that, scuff the whole bumper, and I should be ready to shoot it with high build primer finally. I'm pretty excited. I believe the bumper is finally ready for its first coat of high build after all the work of getting it. I believe it's straight. I mean, I'm unsure to tell right now because I don't have it in high build. I haven't blocked it with the guide coat, anything like that. It feels relatively straight. It's you know, two bumpers glued together and then kind of, you know, molded together as well. So as you can see, it is one complete bumper now, and I tried to keep everything consistent. Down there you can see that I kind of mimicked their Mercedes little body line, so to say, and that little edge right there, I just flowed it through into the 3000 GT piece, so it just kind of matched with the Mercedes bumper. I was trying a couple other different things, and that's the only thing that really looked really nice. There she is, the first coat of high build. It definitely needs some sanding. There's some deep scratches from the 36 grit, as to be expected. Right here, looks like I need to work on the filler a little bit. Looks like I have too much still right there, so I'll sand that down. Shouldn't be too big of a deal. And this looks actually really nice. I didn't think that it was gonna be as even like as it is with the body line and everything. The one thing I was kind of worried about, but it kind of seems like it all worked out pretty decently. There's some extra filler down here that I need to sand out, and some deep scratches right here, but that is to be expected when you're sanding with 36 grit. You're gonna have to fix all that, you know, all those deep scratches. I like how that body line down there goes with the 3000 GT bumper and kind of blends in. You can see it right there. I do like that. I like how I open the vents up. Makes it look, you know, not, I don't know. I don't like simulated vents. If there's supposed to be a vent there, have a vent there. If there's not, don't put it there. Other than that, I just, I'm gonna let this dry, go home, throw the diffuser on, throw it on the car, see how I like it, see if there's anything I want to change. But I think other than that, this bumper is ready for the next stage in a couple days, once the primer gets a little bit, you know, more shrunken in all those scratches. That is the end of this 3000 GT video. I am really excited that I got the bumper primed and kind of in a presentable state. It's in primer, so it's not that presentable, but now I could put guide coat on it, block it, and figure out what I need to modify or change or keep the same or whatever. When I do that, I won't be sanding with such aggressive grit either, so that will you know, make everything come out a lot smoother than it is right now. Pretty much was 36 gritted and used a little bit of icing, and then in some spots it has a little bit more than others, and then it was hit with 80 grit. So, well, 36 and then 80, and then the primer, the high build, and then I'll do it in 180. I'll block it out with the guide coat. But I really do like how this bumper looks. The lights aren't on right here. There's a light and a garnish, and then there's a little cover that goes over the light. It looks a lot better with those on, but I mean, that bumper definitely makes a car from the back look a lot more aggressive because of this vent right here, and also because of the exhaust tips and the diffuser, which that's the only reason I did this whole project. I could have just fixed my stock 3000 GT bumper and painted it the plum crazy and not had really any trouble doing it. It would have been really easy, really simple, and all that. But this just changes the whole look of the back of the car. So now that it has a diffuser and the exhaust tips are incorporated in the diffuser, it looks a lot less tacky. I'm just gonna go with the, you know, the rice cannons. They're just played out. It's 2019, and if you have big rice cannons on the back of your car, I can't believe companies are still making those. That was like a 2002 to 2009 or 2012, something like that era, and it's 2019, guys. Get over it. This looks a lot cleaner. Don't go rice cannons. I mean, I'm trying to clean a lot of my cars up. I really am over those big round tips. I mean, you just have this big, huge cannon on the back of your car. This one had 2 of them. Now it has nice, you know, nice dual exhaust, but it's kind of factory looking, and it looks really, really sweet. So the plan is the bumper is going to be plum crazy. The diffuser, for now, I'm going to paint it the tuxedo black, like I did to the front of the bumper. The trim on that, or the little what do you call it? The little accent on the front of the bumper underneath, I painted it tuxedo black, and this is tuxedo black as well. So that will just incorporate the rear diffuser, it being tuxedo black. So that's what that will be. And since Mercedes has this nice little accent piece right here that is silver, I'm gonna paint that plum crazy as well, so it'll kind of tie in the diffuser into the bumper. And the exhaust tips, I mean, they just look so aggressive. I mean, they're not a cannon, of course, but they just look like so aggressive, and I like how it kind of like pops out right there and everything, but it's nice and tucked in. It's not too low, but it's like low enough that you're not, I don't know, it's just so hard to explain. The stock 3000 GT bumper is just, you know, it's an old bumper. It's not really, it's just, it sits high up. It kind of swoops down. It looks like it needed the diffuser from the factory, but they didn't do it. So if you liked the video, as always, click the subscribe button, comment below, give the video a thumbs up, and hopefully you like the content on me making this bumper. See you guys in the next episode.